Okay, so this is a Chinese cabbage, and it was the best I could find at Sprouts. It had a bug in it, and so it's definitely not perfect, but it's good enough, and I can cut, and a lot of this will go out to the chickens, and it'll make them super happy. Yeah, the rest of it actually looks pretty good. I apologize for being left-handed so that you cannot see as well from that side, but that's the side that I have light on, so this is the side, I'm sorry. You're not going to be able to see it as well as you'd like, I'm sure. That's the size I'm cutting it. And this one should be significantly bigger because I didn't have to throw quite so much away.
Should I wash my dish right now or should I wait?
So cold water, I'm going to rinse it. I could have rinsed it before when it was still kind of held together, but then I kind of wanted to see how much bug damage there was because of how bad the last one looked.
What kind of bug do you think it was?
Some kind of little cabbage loving bug.
Caterpillar?
Probably some kind of little wormy thing. Alright. Alright, so you need a specific kind of salt. This is Korean kimchi salt, and it does matter what salt you use. This is a coarse salt, but it's not like rock salt that you use for ice cream. It's just coarse Korean kimchi salt. And it is what is the deciding factor in the flavor and quality of your kimchi. You can get it on Amazon. In fact, I will list this salt, the pepper, and the fish sauce on my Amazon. And if you want better equipment than mine, like if you want equipment like what Sammy uses, I will also include that. The straining basket and the soaking basket and the lid that goes on to keep flies off. I will include all that in the Amazon links below. And I do make a penny or two off of it, not very much, but a little bit, so if you want to buy it through there instead of somewhere else, we appreciate it. So we want everything to have salt on it. And over time, I'm going to come in and check on it. And as it starts to break down, I will add more and I'll turn it. And eventually it'll get down and it'll be limp and not crisp like that one I showed you. So I'll show you this one. Listen, it snapped. You heard the snap and see how it broke? We're aiming for it to be soft and not like that. We want it to be bendy, but not snappy. So, there we go. We're gonna let it sit for a bit. And the nice thing about the Korean equipment is that it's really meant to do this. And so if it is summer, and you do have some flies in the kitchen, you have the cover that you put over the top that keeps the flies out, which is nice because generally you want to make a lot more than this. This is a teeny tiny bowl. It's hard to make enough to last a week. The ones that they have at like the Asian market are like big enough to be a small swimming pool. Okay, so now we're going to work on the kimchi. So I need to rinse it. It is bent. You see how it's very, very bendable? It doesn't ever snap, which means I did a good job. It is ready to be rinsed. All right, remember, always use cold water. Rinse it again. And what you don't want is you do not want it to be, you don't want it to be not salty enough. You want it to be salty. If it's not salty enough, that's when you start to have problems with food that goes bad. So we need to take the green onion, and I'm going to use 2 of them because I have one more batch to make today. All right, now they're clean. And we're going to cut them long in long pieces. And we're not going to waste it because Sammy doesn't like it when you waste green onions. And it was just 1 cabbage, and it was quite small, and it had some bug holes in it. And so I had quite a bit that I couldn't use, so it's pretty small, so 2 green onions should be fine. Okay. And then I have garlic. And this one was from Sprouts. I'm pretty happy with Sprouts. I'm going to do 3. Oh, she says we're done.
Rice has been completed.
Rice. Yep, I get sung to in my kitchen. It makes me feel like a fairy tale princess. Specifically Snow White, because that little lilt whoop, doot, makes me think of I'm dreaming of the one I love, to find me today, and make my dinner and whistle at me when it's time to come check on it. Alright, so garlic fluff goes in the compost. I change out my jars daily because otherwise you can get some really nasty stuff, and I like to just have them be not nasty. Now, Sammy wants me to use a spoon and have it be rough, but I really struggle with that, and so instead I just use this and then pop it out and it's crushed, and I use this and I pop it out and it's crushed. So I use the part that was on the inside and I kind of rough it up with my thumb a little bit. And she likes to use a mortar and pestle. I just don't have a mortar and pestle, and it's really hard to do it with a spoon. There it goes back in. Farm critters usually don't like onions, and so for this, instead of putting it in for the ducks to eat or anything, I'm going to put this in the compost. Because ducks and chickens, pigs, they don't have a tendency to like onions unless they're super, super sweet. And these are not. These are warmer.
They can give you a kick.
And that's about enough for that small of a batch. The rest of this I will save for the other, so it looks like the other half needs to just go in the fridge. Okay, so the next bit, you're making what to somebody who's not Korean just sounds like a really thick gravy, kind of like a roux, but you're making it not with flour. In Korea, what Sammy used was rice flour. But we can't have rice flour, so she experimented and she made it with potato starch after that, and now she likes it better with the potato starch than the rice flour. So who knows? If you cannot have nightshades, I would imagine the arrowroot powder would do the same thing. It needs to be enough to cover however much kimchi you've made. I'm going to use 1 cup and then just a small amount of potato starch. Make sure you start with cold water. And then don't turn it on until you add this. You want it to dissolve and then form the thick part. So I'm imagining about that much because I've only got 1 small cabbage. And I'm going to sprinkle that in there. And now I'm going to turn it on. And you need to keep stirring it or else it's going to make this awful, nasty, rubbery mess. And you want it to go totally clear. Okay, now it needs to cool so that it doesn't cook the cabbage. All right, here's my little gravy mix. Okay, this is your Korean kimchi pepper. It's not the hot one, it's just the flavorful one. I like it to be red because I like it really hot. And this is your 3 crab fish sauce. It needs to be this one specifically. It's the one that tastes the best. And it will make your whole house stink.
What will? The kimchi? I don't do it at all.
And then take a little piece and try it and see if you like it. Really good. Sorry.
Yesterday I had that in my chicken, and I'm pretty sure it was from Hare.
Now I go through this really quickly. This is enough for maybe 3 days.
Yeah, because you eat so much.
It's good on everything except for ice cream.
Okay, and I will need to open it up and burp it occasionally because it is going to start to ferment and it's going to want to be able to breathe. So I need to open that up. Generally that's not a problem because I'm opening it up to eat it. That's 1 cabbage worth.